So Monday, legal tampering begins in the NFL. Are you ready to see what the Eagles do?
Hail the cowboy, Mr. McLean. You Americans are all alike. But this time, John Wayne doesn't walk into the sunset with Grace Kelly.
Scary Cooper, asshole.
Oh, Diva! Oh, shit! Oh, shit! That was crazy!
Happy trails, Hans. Dallas still stinks. Yo, everybody, how you doing? King Dingbat here, and free agency is pretty much here. Legal tampering starts 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Monday, and once this happens, teams can start to negotiate with players, and then officially on Wednesday, they can sign them. So we are going to start to know on Monday night, probably, a lot of where some of these guys may end up, and it's going to be interesting. Now, I want to give you guys, I wanted to give you my top 5 free agents, the guys that I want in the order in which I want them. But I decided I'm going to give you my top 7 because there are a couple guys that are right on that border of the 5th spot. So I'm going to go ahead and give you my top 7. These are guys that not necessarily I think the Eagles are going to get or will even be interested in. These are guys that if it was up to me, if I was Howie Roseman, if I was running things, if I'm running the show, double moonwalking some ass, I would be going after these guys. So I'm going to give you my top 7. And you tell me what you think, and you tell me the guys that you're interested in. So without further ado, let's do this thing right now. My number 7th free agent that I would like the Eagles to get is Ryan Fitzpatrick. The Eagles need a backup quarterback to Carson Wentz. I don't trust Nate Sudfeld 100%. He hasn't really done much. We don't know what he can do. If there's a situation where Carson's going to miss a few games, I trust Ryan Fitzpatrick to come in and have the ability to win some games. Now, he's not Nick Foles. He's not going to go out there, and he's not going to sit there and basically win you a Super Bowl. I don't believe that. I don't even think he's going to win you playoff games. But if you need 1 game, 2 games to get a win, he could come in and he could do it. He could even do it for 3, maybe 4 games. He's a very streaky, very, very streaky quarterback. If he gets hot, he can get hot. Now, he would be a good person to bring in. He would never really threaten Carson as a starter, and I think he could come in and fill the backup role, start a couple games if need be. Hopefully this doesn't happen. Hopefully Carson stays healthy this year. Everybody, we're all hoping. I think he will. I think Carson will this year. But Ryan Fitzpatrick is my number 7th choice, or my number 7th one in the free agency market. My number 6 guy is Tevin Coleman. Now, you may be saying, whoa, Tevin Coleman's all the way up at 6. Why so far back? And here's my issue with Coleman. I like his play. I think he fits the Eagles' offense. He can run. He can catch out of the backfield. He's dynamic in that area. But I don't know if he's big enough to be a featured back. So I kind of look at him as a 2-prong approach. If you get a guy like Tevin Coleman, you still need another running back. You still need to go out and get another running back. He is not going to be a 3-down back, in my opinion. And he doesn't stay healthy a lot. And I just think that you would need another back. So he would help your running back spot. He would solve part of the problem, but he wouldn't solve all of it. So that's why I have him at number 6. Now, my number 5 guy is Roger Saffold, the guard from the Los Angeles Rams. He's 6'5", 323 pounds. I think he's going to be 31 come June. So he'd be going into the year 31. But he's a left guard. He can play left guard. And if you look at the way he played the Cowboys in the playoff games, he gave them problems. He gave them problems in that playoff game. I think the Eagles need a left guard. We need a left guard, and I think he would be a perfect guy to come in for 3-4 years and play with the Eagles. He plays. And I think this would be a great move. I've spoken about the offensive line and the need to build that line up and make sure, especially that interior, is ready to go. We have to protect Carson Wentz. So Roger Saffold would be my number 5 guy in the free agency market. So my 4th top free agent on my list is John Brown. John Brown, the 28-year-old receiver from the Baltimore Ravens, has what we need: speed. He's got a lot of speed, and that's what we need. I think he had 42 catches, over 700 yards, 5 touchdowns, but most important, he averages over 17 yards per reception. There's nobody on the Eagles even close to that, okay? 17 yards per reception is huge. It's exactly what we need. Now, my concern with John Brown in the past has been his durability. He gets hurt a lot, but I think he started 15 games for the Baltimore Ravens last year. If he gives us 15 games plus playoffs and Super Bowl when we win, I'm good. I'm good with that. But the element that he really has is that speed, and we need it. I mean, you have Alshon Jeffrey, a big physical receiver, could go up and get it. You have Aguilar in the slot who's got speed and can do a lot, but they really don't use him down the field a lot. They really don't. But then you get an outside receiver like a John Brown. Man, he would take the top off those defenses. He would keep them off balance, and it would open up everything underneath, and it would take pressure off the quarterback in the end of the day. So John Brown is 4th on my list. If they could land him, 28-year-old, I would be very happy. Now, the last few years, they went Torrey Smith, Baltimore Ravens. Mike Wallace, Baltimore Ravens. Both those guys were too old and beat up. Would they go John Brown, Baltimore Ravens? Could be interesting. They like to go Baltimore Ravens. Joe Douglas has that connection there, I guess, so he knows what players would work, I guess, for both teams. I don't know. John Brown, I totally would love it. I would love it. Now, speaking of the Ravens, okay? Speaking of the Ravens, number 3 on my list is C.J. Mosley. C.J. Mosley, the linebacker. Now, he's a linebacker. As you can tell on this list, there's a lot of offense, but he's a special player. He's a special player, and if you could get him, I think he's, 26 years old? 26 years old. Middle linebacker. He's an upgrade to Jordan Hicks. He plays. He's a leader. He's a playmaker, and he would come in and do wonders for this defense. He is one of those guys that if he's available, if he's out there, I think you have to go after him. You have to try to get him. I definitely do. And I got to tell you, I have no inside information. I've heard nothing. This is purely on a gut level. I got a feeling C.J. Mosley's going to end up in Philly. I just do. Joe Douglas knows him. The Baltimore Ravens connection. Boom. I just got this weird feeling that C.J. Mosley is on the Eagles' radar. So look out for him. But I would love to have C.J. Mosley. Now, the number 2 guy on my list may surprise a lot of people for different reasons. It just may. But my number 2 on the list is the best running back, I think, in football. Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell is too talented. He's too talented to not be on this list. Okay, now I know he wants an insane amount of money. I get it. But I'm not really focusing too much on all that money stuff. Let the Eagles work. Now let Howie Roseman calculate the calculations. Me, I'm just telling you who I want. You put Le'Veon Bell on this offense. He's a 3-down back. He can run. He's a great pass blocker. He can catch out of backfield. He's 26 years old, 27 years old when they start to play. You got to do it. You got to do it if you could get him. I mean, look, I don't know if the money will work. He may want too much money. But if for some reason they can work it out, you put him on this offense. Do you realize the pressure he takes off Carson Wentz? My gosh. Carson has him. He would make this offense dynamic. He would make it totally dynamic. Now, the reason I have him number 2 on this list is 2 things. One, he wants so much money. $50 million over 2 years guaranteed in a long-term contract. And then the other thing is he going to be happy and content in Philly? Is he going to be the perfect team player that we need? That is what my issue is when it comes to Le'Veon Bell. If we get those things, he would be much higher on the list. But those are the things that I'm concerned about. That's why I have him at number 2. Le'Veon Bell, most talented player on this list, best available player in free agency, bar none. My concerns are the money, and my concerns are, would he be happy long-term with Philly, and would he be a locker room guy? So this takes me to number 1 on my list. Now remember, this is just my own personal opinion, who I would like to see the Eagles get. I know a lot of you guys may have different opinions. I know the Eagles have different opinions, but it is what it is. This is mine, and that's why my number 1 person on my list, my number 1 free agent I want, may surprise some of you guys, and that is wide receiver Tyrell Williams. Tyrell Williams, to me, is one of these guys who I think is the perfect fit. He's 6'4", 205 pounds, only 27 years old. He's not the burner John Brown is. He's not as fast as him, but he's fast enough to do damage. He's fast enough to make a big impact, to stretch the field, to keep defenses honest. And not only is he's fast, but I think he can do more in the overall game than a John Brown can. And I think this kid, he was an undrafted free agent, and he came in, he won a spot, and he's gotten better and better every year. I like those kind of guys. Those guys tend to show a lot of heart. Now, you get a guy like him, okay, opposite side of Alshon. Alshon's a big physical receiver. He's a pretty big receiver himself, but he's got more speed. He's a deep threat. He's a big play wide receiver. Man, I think you could do a lot of damage, and I think that this kid's best years are in front of him. I think he's good enough that he could be a number 1 wide receiver on other teams. Now, he's going to cost you a little bit. No doubt about it. Probably between $10 to $14 million per year. But I think he's worth it. I think he's an upgrade over Golden Tate last year. I think he's far better than Torrey Smith was, far better than Mike Wallace. And I think that this would be a steal for the Eagles. And I think the combination of Tyrell Williams, Alshon Jeffrey, Aguilar, be brutal. It would be brutal. And I really am high on this kid. I really think the world of him, and I think he's going to go wherever he goes. I think he's going to have a big impact, and I would love to see it in Philly. So that pretty much rounds out my top 7 guys that I would like to see the Eagles get in free agency. Now remember, this is not dealing with trades. No, I'm not talking about trading for Jordan Howard or somebody like that. I'm not talking about draft, Joshua Jacobs or anybody like that. We're not talking about draft. We're not talking about trades. I'm just simply telling you the free agents that are going to be available that I really like a lot, that I really would like to see the Eagles get. And I want to hear what you guys think. I want to hear what you guys say. I am excited. Tomorrow, the legal tampering begins. That means basically these teams are already going to start working out deals. So we're going to already probably know tomorrow night where a lot of these guys are going to end up. So tell me what you think. Give me your free agents that you like. It's going to be fun. It's going to be very entertaining, and we'll be watching this very, very closely. So with that said, take care. Talk to you later. And don't be a dingbat.